Well, Congressman, thank you so much for taking time right before the big event. From what we gather, there's going to be 3,000 to 4,000 people here on the UT campus. Is those type of crowds, you had a big one in El Paso the other day, is that what keeps you enthused, it keeps you going on this campaign?
It sure does, because, you know, campaigning is tiring. Airplanes up and down, a lot of missed meals. I missed my bicycle ride. But the young people, because they're interested in ideas and the ideas that I've been talking about, and they're enthusiastic, that gives me a lot of energy, because, you know, we talk about serious things like foreign policy and monetary policy and deficits, and I think the young people realize some of the problems they face as they become of age, looking for jobs and paying bills. So I find it very interesting and enthusiastic.
Talk about some of the issues that they talk to you about and come up to you about. I saw there was a Gallup poll that I think from the 18 to 34-year-olds, you were like 3 percentage points within Mitt Romney in this key age group. And you have so many issues that you're very passionate about, everything from legalizing marijuana to pulling troops out to getting rid of the Fed. Do they come with one specific issue in mind and then collectively they're there, or do they hear about everything that you have to say and buy in?
I talk to them a lot and ask them that question, and sometimes it'll be generalized. Well, we like the fact that you emphasize the Constitution. That is appealing to them. They do like the idea that I would end the wars and only fight wars that are declared. They are fascinated with the subject of monetary policy and how that ties into deficit financing and how the monetary system works. But personal liberty is a big issue too. You know, I want people to assume responsibility for themselves and make their own decisions. So this is what is very appealing to them. And they frequently will say, when I pin them down, I say, well, others say similar things. Yeah, but they say, you're telling us the truth. And that very pleases me, because I am telling the truth, but they seem to recognize the difference.
You're pushing on with your message. I know just on Tuesday, Mitt Romney had the 5
Right.
wins. He's got more than 800 delegates. You have about 80 delegates. Do you feel that there's a push still for Tampa and the National Convention? Can you have a serious challenge there?
Probably not, in the sense that we think that we can all of a sudden surge ahead and win it. But the people who put this energy into it, and they're in the delegate process right now, and just this last week there were some surprises. You know, it looks like we're going to probably win Iowa and Minnesota and Maine and Missouri. We're doing real well in Washington. In Iowa, we've elected the chairman of the party, and 15 out of the 17 Central Committee members are Ron Paul supporters. So that's the kind of thing that's going on at the grassroots that nobody really measures, and I don't even know what's going on because I just hear about it as I travel around the country. So that to me is very encouraging too.
There was an interesting article in Bloomberg Business Week about this very topic, that I think there's more than 65 supporters of yours that are running for various offices on various levels, local, state, on the federal level. Is that part of this push then?
Yeah, and yet it's completely different, because you hear the political parties, well, we have to recruit. Let's go out and recruit this one and recruit this one. Both Republicans and Democrat leaders do that. But we don't recruit. I mean, we have people who we get excited, we get them reading, and they get really enthusiastic about the message, and then they say, what should I do? And I said, well, do what you feel you want to do. Run for office, campaign for somebody, donate your money, become a teacher, become a TV personality, whatever, but do what you want to do. But you have a responsibility to do something. So a lot of them took it up and ran for office. A lot of them have already won office up in New Hampshire and these different places. There's a lot of new people at lower offices, anywhere from city council up. So I think this is a reflection that this is not just a short-range deal that we're doing. This is truly a philosophical revolutionary idea that we should change the status quo of Washington, and they see that whether we have Republicans in charge or Democrats in charge, really nothing really ever changes. And I think they see that we're talking about something different.
So pushing ahead then to Tampa, is there concern that maybe this movement, this revolution, if you will, could be at the expense of the general election in November, whoever the nominee is, or not necessarily?
I think think there's probably some people are concerned about it, but we're concerned about the country not continue to go in the wrong direction. So the party is important. That's the vehicle we use. But it's secondary to, let's say that we are right, that we shouldn't fight wars without declaration, that we're in a war for 10 years and 70% of the American people want to come home. So the party becomes secondary to sending this message out. We're really talking to a broader population, and my numbers are very good outside the Republican primary, because when my name is put up against Obama's, you know, I can beat him at times and do as well as Governor Romney. So this means that this message is crossing over, and our goal is to change things and not just to go along to get along.
This is your home state. How do you hope that you fare delegate-wise? Of course, it's not a winner-take-all state, but what's the goal? What do you hope?
Well, I don't have a precise number. We're going to pick up delegates, obviously, but I don't think we're going to overwhelm the state because there's still a lot of people, especially in the Republican primary. It's very challenging to talk about you know, a change in foreign policy, and yet George W. Bush ran on a foreign policy similar to mine, of a humble foreign policy, no nation building, no policing of the world. But I say it, I mean it. I think that's what we should do. Young people like that. So the message, if we could get that out, and the money's a big issue. We don't quite have the millions that you can raise on Wall Street. We don't get the Wall Street money, but we've raised significant amount of money, but not quite enough to be really competitive in the big states.
Final couple of things I'll ask you. Beyond Tampa, I mean, out of the question of the third party run?
I have no plans of doing that. That's very unlikely. I've never said absolutely never, 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 but I don't have any intention of doing that. That's a tough job. So right now we're concentrating on getting our delegates, having a presence in Tampa, as well as encouraging more and more people to study and understand and get involved in trying to change the problems that we have in this country.
And finally, what do you hope happens after this election? I mean, clearly you want to win this race, but it's more about just you personally, and
right.
I think that's the way you've perceived this from the get-go, is that it's not about you, but about what these ideals are. What do you hope happens beyond Tampa?
Well, I think they're going to continue, and I think whether I do a lot or nothing, they're going to continue, because the cat is out of the bag, so to speak. It's going to happen, and it really happened 4 years ago. We sort of ignited it 4 years ago, but then the economic crisis hit, and the kind of problems we talked about, the housing bubble and the debt bubble, and people know that we have a serious crisis going on. Same way with foreign policy. 70% of the people now say, enough is enough. Why are we over there? And now they know that Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. The people are with us on this now. It's just sort of continuing that, because you can't change everything overnight. But the country is changing. It's a different country now than it was 4 years ago, and something has to be done, because we cannot sustain it. We cannot keep running up these debts, because it will bankrupt us, and we'll face the same type of crisis that Europe is in right now.
Well, Congressman Paul, we thank you for your time. I know you're planning to be in Tampa. We're going to be in Tampa, so I hope we can have another conversation.
Wonderful. Be glad.
Thank you so much.